12 points to remember when hearing the voice of God. Looking at point 3 and 4 today. Again, this book, Is This Really You God by Lauren Cunningham. Alright, let's see. Number 3, confess any unforgiven sin. A clean heart is necessary if you want to hear God. It's very difficult when we've got sin in our life and we want to hear, because it blocks us. It's the enemy's way of blocking how we can hear is sin in our life, any unconfessed sin. And Psalm 66:18 says, "If I had not confessed the sin of my heart, my Lord would not have listened." David realized this, and when he wrote this and said this, that there had been a time, obviously, in his life where he hadn't confessed sin, and he could sense that, the Lord wasn't listening to him. And so he had this greater revelation that I need to confess my sin, and then therefore I could have my communication line would be open again. So yeah, number 3, confess any unforgiven sin. A place called Moreki Boulders right there in New Zealand, pretty cool place. Number 4, use the axe head principle, a term coined from the story in 2 Kings 6. If you seem to have lost your way, go back to the last time you knew the sharp, cutting edge of God's voice. Then obey. The key question is, have you obeyed the last thing God told you to do? 2 Kings 6:4-7. When they arrived at the Jordan, they began cutting down trees. But as one of them was chopping, his axe head fell into the river. "Ah, my lord," he cried, "it was a borrowed axe. Where did it fall?" The man of God asked. Then he showed him the place. Elijah cut a stick and threw it into the water. Then the axe head rose to the surface and floated. "Grab it," Elijah said to him, and the man reached out and grabbed it. So basically, you got a crazy story of this piece of iron that flies off the head of the wood that was being used to cut down some trees to build a place of rest for Elisha and a few others, kind of making a little tent. It falls into the river. This guy who was doing the work had borrowed the axe and was just freaking out because he may not have had the money to replace it. And so Elisha said, "Hey, where'd it go?" Takes a stick, floats it, and all of a sudden this piece of iron floats to the surface, and the man who lost it grabs it by reaching out. So there was a lot of different neat things going on here for symbolism regarding this axe head principle. If we feel like sometimes we haven't been hearing from God, the key question is, did we do what God had asked us to? Had we been obedient to the last thing that God had spoken to us to do? You can't move forward until you do what you're supposed to do the first time. And so there's a lot of times that cutting, sharp edge of God's voice, just like this axe, needs to be brought back up so that its piercing can be done, its correction, its obedience, its adventure may be lived out and not pushed off because we don't think it's important. Whatever it is that God wanted us to do at that moment, we needed to do. And as we walk out in obedience instantaneously and not kind of procrastinate or question, what happens is our faith grows and our ability to keen in on God's ear increases. And so a really amazing principle that's caught me in times of was I obedient to the last thing God said. And so it's been a neat little principle to keep me in check. And so keep that one in mind as well. Today, point 3, you gotta confess any sin. Point 4, have we been obedient to the last thing God said for us to do? Alright, man. Let me know when you want to get together.